Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single podcast episode. I really value your feedback and book recommendations. Now let's begin today's episode. Today I am doing something a little different. I am doing the reading challenge for Between by LL Starling. This was my very first book review that I did, and I thought since we're back in cozy October, we're in cozy warm vibes, since we're doing the reading challenge again, I wanted to just do a more in-depth actual review because there is just so much that happens because this is a chonker of a book. It's like over 1,000 pages or something like that, I think. And it's just so amazing and so cute, and there's just so many little things that since I am doing the book, since I'm doing the reading challenge anyway, and since it's split up into weekly recaps and weekly stuff anyway for the entire month of October, I thought, why not do this? So next year or even this year, if you want to take part in the challenge, I highly recommend it. It is an amazing book. It was my favorite of last year, 5 out of 5. And the reading schedule, there are actually 2 books. Yes, this is a chonker and this is a buddy read. There's 2 options. There's a couple of options actually. There is the slow leisurely pace for those who want to read at a slower pace so that we can savor all of the leather pants references. This is taken from the Facebook post by the author. I'm just reading it verbatim so that we can get all the wonderful little blurbs from her, but we can savor all the leather pants references. And it began on October 1st and it runs all the way through October 31st. And then there is the regular buddy read, which is the speedier reader, and it runs from October 21st to October 31st, which are the days that the novel takes place. So this entire book takes place over the course of 10 days. The book is split into 2 parts. So the first part is written from Sasha's perspective, our lead heroine, from October 21st to October 31st. And then the second part of the book are those same 10 days written from Lauren's perspective, our leather pants wearing hero. Love him so much. Sigh. But then on top of that, there is another subsection, which the classic schedule, which is if you like cozy, slower paced reads, this is the reading approach for you. Basically, you just read the book from start to finish. There's nothing tricky there. And that is what I am doing this year because I just thought since I wanted to do this reading challenge and I wanted to do the weekly recaps, I thought it would be a little easier to explain if I'm doing it in the normal, logical, chronological order, the classic order. And then if you want to give yourself an extra level crazy, since I explained there, it's written from those same 10 days from the 2 perspectives, there is the chronological schedule, which is the chaotic schedule. And it actually, rather than reading the book as it's written, this schedule takes the book chronologically, starting on the day that Sasha arrives in Old Middleton, the 21st of October, all the way up to Halloween, which is when Sasha leaves for Between. This means that you'll be reading scenes from both Lauren and Sasha's perspectives on the day that it's actually happening in the novel, which sounds like so much fun. I want to do that next year, I think, and maybe I'll do that as next year's book review overview to see how it goes for me. I wasn't sure how crazy real life would be, which is why I also wanted to do it as the normal schedule with reading it from start to finish as it was written. But I might see how I'm feeling next year because I do want to try to tackle that chronological eventually. I think that would just be so much fun. But let's begin. We're starting with chapters from the prologue to chapter 5, and we begin with the big day when Sasha finally agrees to go with Lauren, and she's realizing she kind of made a little bit of a mistake when accepting this kindergarten teaching position, because we're starting it as kind of a look at seeing what's going on because there's all this chaos that's going on, and she looks at the leather pants wearing man who is looking over the chaos with just the way LL Starling describes everything is just hilarious. It's like she explained it as someone gleefully I forget exactly how she had described it, but it was like a pyromaniac running to a fireworks facility. It was something really really funny like that. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll go with you. And then we skip back in time 10 days to chapter 1 when we first meet Sasha and her best friend Lyra. They're in her car and they're driving to this teaching position that Sasha had accepted, and they're going to this little village out in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. And we start to already see from the very beginning Sasha and Lyra's friendship, and this is something that I just love throughout this book. These are two adult women. They're both around 30 years old, and they're both just such amazing friends. And the fact that Lyra is like, I'm gonna go with you to this position, and Lyra was studying to be a psychologist. She was in her master's program writing her thesis, and she's just like, I'm taking a break from this to go with you for this 3-week kindergarten teaching position. And they're lost. We're already starting to see some of the little bits and bobs of their friendship where Lyra is all like, we're doomed, we're lost, we're going to be killed and sacrificed out in the middle of nowhere, and they're also stuck in the rain in this car and they're gonna die. It's just all this stuff. And then Sasha is very bubbly and very happy, and she's like, no, we're fine, it's going to be fine, Lyra, like, we're not in the middle of an ordeal. And that's something that they're always talking about, ordeal with a capital O. And that's something that I've been wanting to put more into my life as well, was saying we're in the middle of an ordeal, man. It's just, I just love it. So I just love their friendship. This positive female friendship is just so wonderful and so cute. And they're just like, this is basically all of chapter 1, where we're kind of learning more about their personalities, and we're learning that Sasha always has this little voice in the back of her head saying, like, we don't want to just settle in one place. Like, why would we want to do that? Like, she's been bouncing around the country. She's been bouncing all over the world, taking all these different substitute teaching positions, and every time she starts to kind of get a little comfortable in a place, the little voice in the back of her head says, let's go on a new adventure, let's go somewhere new. And then Lyra, she's also running away from her own problems as well, and as part of the assignment for being a substitute teacher, the headmistress of the elementary school had arranged for her to live at Miss Adeline's boarding house for genteel young ladies of unimpeachable reputation. And the rules are problematic for poor Lyra, especially because it includes no pets, no gentlemen callers, no fun, and worst of all, there is no Wi-Fi. And this was just me so much when I was reading this, as like, okay, there's bits of this that are just so me with Lyra, because she is short, and she's short, she's sassy, she's loves to be mentioned being in an ordeal. Oh, and also, while she may appear to be blonde, she's actually a natural redhead, which is a hint for something that may or may not occur later, because this is the 3rd time that I've read this book, so I know what's happening. But yeah, so we meet Miss Adeline, and she is very much just very strict, and there is no profanity either, and it is just so funny. And plus, we also find out that Sasha has never really dreamed for the past 25 years. She's never dreamt at all, and that this is something that the doctors have tried to figure out. Like, is there something wrong with her? There's nothing wrong with her. She just doesn't dream. And then for whatever reason, in Old Middleton, she dreams, and she's like, what happened? Did I actually dream, or was this something that happened in my head? And so then in chapter 2, this was the end of chapter 1, and this is something I'm going to be doing for the entire book, going over each of the chapters and discussing what's going on. And then in chapter 2, we start off with Lyra being Lila. Why do I keep on wanting to say Lyra? Lila being even more adamant than before that she doesn't trust this place because it is too perfect. And I think that even if she wound up in a place like Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, she would think that there is something very wrong about it. Like, this place is too perfect, and this is why I love Lila so much. She's just like, this place is too perfect. And then we also get to see some of the different books. We get to see some of the stores, and there's even this cute little bookstore called the Sleepy Cat Book Emporium, and there's even this cute little black cat that's sleeping on a purple cushion looking like a queen, and Lila's like, you are going to love me, And that just spoke to me. And Lila was wanting to go into the bookstore, and Sasha was like, no, if you go in there, I'm not going to see you for a week. Like, yep, I know this so well. But it's just was very funny and very cute. And then we also get to see, they go into the bakery, and we get to see that one of the chefs there has a wrist tattoo that's white, and all like we're starting to see little hints of something that's maybe a little bit suspicious, but we don't know exactly what is going on, and it makes sense later on, of course, once we learn about what all is going on. But what's really nice in the book is that we do get a visual aid, because it's explained as a triangle with two concentric rings around it, and we do get an actual visual aid. It's two broken concentric circles that framed a triangle, and luckily in the book we have an image of what it is so that we see exactly what's going on. And we also learn that Sasha is also very excited to explore and see what's going on, which is also very different for her. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going on already in the book that's kind of saying there's something different about this town. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but there is something there. And then into chapter 3, we go into the school and we meet Esther, the deputy headmistress, and then we learn that there's a flu going around, and Sasha is introduced to her kindergarten class, which is only 4 students, because there's really not a whole lot of families in Old Middleton, so there's really not many children, and it's in the elementary school is set up in this old Victorian house. Well, this old house that was set up to be the school, and there's 4 children, including one of the most eccentric kids, this boy named Mason Barnes, and he is basically going to either ruin the world. Like, he's going to he's either going to wind up running a gang in prison or become a CEO. He is quite the character. And then we also meet the woman who's also old lady who's substituting the teacher, Mrs. Lancham, and her skirt flask of alcohol. And that's just iconic. So perfect, so wonderful, so amazing. And we learn that when they go on an evening tour of Old Middleton, we learn that it was actually originally called Middleton before there was this other town that was created, and there was these 4 founding families, and there are all these allegations of witchcraft and just all this other stuff that's going on. That's just all this stuff that's, of course, it's not possible that it happened this way. And then there's these 2 teenage boys that they go to all they go to all the evening tours, and they just love what's going on. They love supporting it. And they also the 2 Sasha and Lila also run into the 2 teenage boys later on about everything, and they're kind of helping a little bit. And we kind of learn a little bit more about this old wishing well, and they make wishes. And that is another thing that was kind of cute, is that when they first arrived, Sasha wanted Lila to make a wish on a leaf, and Lila was like, that's not a real thing. You don't make a wish on a leaf. And so it's just all these little quips and little tidbits of things that are happening that I love how slow paced and cozy this book is. Like, I know some people will find it to be maybe a little too slow paced, and there's just maybe a little too much going on in the fact that there's really not much going on. But that's what I love about this, is that we're really just exploring these 10 days, and we get to see all of these different interactions. We get to really see their friendship. Like, they were friends from childhood, and we get to see more and more about their interactions, and that's just so lovely to me, and I hope we get to continue to see that in book 2 whenever that eventually someday comes out. And we also learned that the town is supposedly cursed because there were 25 men who disappeared, and there was a big fire, and now apparently any man who's of marriageable age just goes away. So that just absolutely horrifies Lila, because she wants all the man flesh, and like, poor thing, she just can't have any of the fun, can she? Nope. And so then into chapter 4, we meet the headmistress, who explains to Sasha what her position entails, and things are also sounding a little bit kind of weird here too, because it could extend past the 3 weeks if she gets along with everyone, and if the town kind of accepts her a little bit, which is different from the normal thing. And then we also have afternoon tea, which gets really, really weird because the headmistress wants to ask her about her family, and then she gets kind of weirded out when Sasha explains, yeah, I have my parents, and then I also have all extended family, and then I have a bunch of friends. And the headmistress is like, well, not everyone, people who usually come here don't really have family. So Sasha is kind of not the normal situation that's going on here, and it starts to seem kind of like something's funky going on because Sasha wants to tell the truth more and more and more. Like, she talks about this guy that she was dating, and she talks about their sex life or how boring it was really, and then she finally is able to leave. Like, and then the headmistress also asks Sasha about her dreams, and she remembers that she actually did dream, which was weird. It's like, how is this, what's going on, what's the situation here? And she and Lila were going to meet later on anyway, after she had the meeting with the headmistress, and she realizes, oh crap, I think I was drugged because I am spilling the truth. I am saying so many truths. And so they decide to go, they think, okay, this is going to be okay. We're going to be fine. Nothing's going on. And then she starts spilling the truth to all these other people. Like, she tells the old man at the grocery store that his sweater is ugly. And then at the bakery, she does very interesting sex charades in the bakery with her hands. And before, she was wanting to try to get on the good side of the headmistress and Miss Adeline. So she went to the florist shop, and there's these cute little twins that run the place. They're old ladies, and they absolutely loved it when they came by later. It's like, yeah, we love these sex charades. Like, what could possibly go wrong with that? And then in chapter 5, we decided to run a little investigation to see what's going on, because they went to this Italian restaurant for dinner, and they ran into the teenagers again, and they explained that there is this place called Stardust and Brimstone, which seems to be the magical spell place. So the teenage boys seem to be giving the lowdown on what's going on, and like, oh yeah, you can totally get, it's kind of like a witchy type of place, and but she doesn't sell to anyone who's under 21. So they decide to go and try to be a little more discreet in their investigation. Is like, I can just picture all of this. And like I said before, I love this friendship, and I love the fact that they're doing this investigation. They're doing all this stuff together. Like, they're just being really good, positive friend vibes here. And this is what I love. And we kind of learned a little bit more about this, and the owner of the Emporium, of the Stardust and Brimstone, kind of explains a little bit like, oh yeah, this isn't really magic. It's kind of just enhancing what you already have. She's kind of trying to make it sound like it's more of that woo mysticism type of stuff, where it's more about the mental side of things instead of actual magic. Like, of course, it's not actual magic. And then she also suggests to Sasha, since she hasn't been sleeping very well, to purchase this purple pillow, and it has these scents in it. And they also buy this truth elixir and tea, because that's how they found out about where it's at. And like, it smells exactly like what Sasha was given during tea time, like, because there's a weird scent and weird taste in her mouth. And they try it out, and they think, okay, this is weird, because she asks Lila when they get back and use Miss Adeline's third best tea set. I just love those little quips of these little explanations. That's the other thing I love about this book, are these little explanations. It's Miss Adeline's third best tea set, and so she asks Lila, why did you leave? Well, what's going on? And so Lila explains it, and she wants to share it, and she feels relaxed, but they realize that this isn't a truth elixir, because it's not forcing her to tell the truth, not like what was going on with Sasha. So like, things are kind of getting a little funky and a little weird, and so they need to continue with their investigation. But Sasha decides that she's going to confront the headmistress the next day and figure out what's going on, and then decide, okay, we're going to leave, we're going to go back to New York City, which of course Lila is very excited about, because then they can get back to their martinis and their carbs and their abs. It's all about the abs. Very, very important, really, truly, especially in New York City. But that is the end of chapter 5, and this is where the first week ends. And I was thinking about listening ahead, but it's like, nah, I'm gonna just do this as suggested, so that I'm able to listen and continue on with as this goes. And I'm going to continue to do the breakdowns each week, discussing what happens in each chapter. And I do really hope this makes it more interesting, especially compared to the first time that I read and reviewed the book. I am so excited to continue to re-explore this book, because there's there's just so much that happens, and I know I didn't cover nearly enough of the funny little adventures, the funny little things that go on in this book, and I'm sure I still miss things that I probably could have and should have covered, but that's just the fun of this, I think, is continuing to remember this different things that are going on. And plus, as always, I absolutely love the narrator. She is fantastic. And then when we get to Lauren's part, oh, I love him. They're both so good. They're just fantastic. But yes, I'm going to continue to do this. Again, please let me know what you think. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. Until next time, my beautiful cuddlebugs, stay warm and fuzzy. Now that we're finally getting into the fall, take care, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye!